Get ready to enter a world completely different from ours, where everyday life unfolds in a way you've never imagined. Have you ever heard of the Mennonites? The Mennonites are one of the most isolated and mysterious communities on the planet, living on the fringes of modernity, devoted to simplicity, equality, and faith. But don't be fooled. Behind this peaceful facade lie traditions that will shock you and dark secrets that will surprise you. Wouldn't you believe it? What if I told you that among them, women have to return all the gifts received during their courtship if the relationship ends? Or that, as well as paying for the wedding, the bride has to give the groom a dowry? What if I told you that one of the traditions includes surrounding the deceased with ice before burial, and that women get married dressed in black? Come with us on this journey to uncover the mysteries and curiosities of Mennonite life, a community full of challenges, contradictions, and stories you would never imagine. Number 1. History of the Mennonites. To understand who they are, we need to go back in time a little. Let's go back to 16th century Europe, a period of religious effervescence and great transformations. The Catholic Church, once powerful and unquestionable, was facing criticism and challenges. Reformers such as Martin Luther questioned practices and dogmas, opening up space for new interpretations of the Christian faith. In this context, a group led by Menno Simons, a former Dutch Catholic priest, decided to go beyond the reforms proposed by Luther. Inspired by the Anabaptists, who preached adult baptism and the separation of church and state, they sought a more authentic and radical Christian life. The Mennonites, as they became known, rejected violence, ecclesiastical hierarchy, and luxury. They preached simplicity, community life, and pacifism. Their beliefs, considered heretical by the Catholic Church and other Protestant groups, led to constant persecution and migration. They faced difficulties and challenges, but held firm to their principles and built prosperous communities based on faith, work, and solidarity. Over time, different branches emerged, each with its own particularities. Some groups, like the Amish, are more conservative, maintaining a very traditional lifestyle. Others are more open to the modern world, using technology and interacting with society in general. In search of religious freedom, many Mennonites left their homes in Holland and Germany, spreading across Europe and then the world. Number 2. Settlement in Pennsylvania. And it was thanks to this migration that they arrived in Pennsylvania. As you may have noticed, in the 18th century, being a Mennonite in Europe was synonymous with religious persecution and uncertainty. But on the other side of the Atlantic, a unique opportunity arose. William Penn, founder of Pennsylvania, a Quaker who also valued religious tolerance, opened the doors to the Mennonites in 1683. Fertile land and the promise of freedom of worship. It was the chance they had been waiting for. And so many Mennonites embarked on a journey into the unknown, crossing the ocean in search of a better future. When they arrived in Pennsylvania, they found a place where they could live according to their beliefs and build prosperous communities. And that's what they did. Lancaster County, for example, became the cradle of several Mennonite communities, with their farms becoming a symbol of their culture and faith. Today, Pennsylvania remains an important center of Mennonite and Amish culture in the United States. The local communities preserve their customs and traditions while adapting to the challenges of the modern world. Number 3. Difference between Amish and Mennonites. But after all, Amish or Mennonites? Is it all the same? Are there differences? It's easy to get confused, isn't it? After all, both have their origins in the Anabaptist movement of the 16th century and share values such as simplicity, community life, and pacifism. The Amish are known for their more conservative and traditional lifestyle. They avoid modern technologies, such as electricity and cars, and dress simply and soberly. Their life revolves around family, community, and agriculture, preserving centuries-old customs and traditions. Mennonites, on the other hand, are more open to change and interact more with society in general. Although they value simplicity, many use modern technology and dress in a more contemporary way. In short, Amish and Mennonites are like two branches of the same family tree. Think of them as brothers or cousins raised together. They share historical roots and common values, but each one has followed its own path, adapting to circumstances and interpreting the faith and its beliefs in a particular way. And since we're talking about belief, that brings us to our next topic. Number 4, beliefs. To understand this, we need to go back to the 16th century in Zurich, Switzerland. It was there that Menno Simons, a former Catholic priest and pacifist leader, kicked off this story. Simons believed that the only way to get rid of temptations and live a truly Christian life was to follow the Bible to the letter, rejecting the authorities of the Catholic Church and the rulers of the time. He advocated adult baptism because only then would people have the maturity to choose and make a commitment to the faith. Inspired by Simons, others proclaimed themselves Anabaptists and followed in his footsteps. The Bible became the map that guided the lives of the Mennonites, and faith was translated into concrete actions on a daily basis. Peace is a fundamental value. They are staunch pacifists, refusing to take part in wars or conflicts. Simplicity is also a hallmark. No ostentation or unbridled consumerism. The focus is on community, family, and honest work. Solidarity is another pillar of the Mennonite faith. They believe in helping others, whether through donations, volunteer work, or emotional support. Number 5, technology. And Mennonites and technology, how do they get along? If you imagined a community totally disconnected from the modern world, prepare yourself for another surprise. Contrary to what many people think, not all Mennonites reject technology. It is true that some Mennonite groups, especially the more traditional ones, prefer to keep their distance from certain technological advances, such as the internet and smartphones. They believe that these technologies can distract from the simple communal life they value. But most Mennonites see technology as a tool which can be used wisely and in moderation. Computers, cell phones, and even cars are common in many Mennonite communities, as long as their use doesn't interfere with the values and principles of the faith. After all, technology can facilitate communication, learning, and work, contributing to the development of the community. And of course, each group has the autonomy to decide what is or isn't acceptable, always seeking a balance between tradition and the needs of the modern world. Number 6, education and college. Another thing that few people know is that unlike the Amish, who generally discourage higher education, education is fundamental for the Mennonites. They believe that knowledge and faith can go hand in hand, and many attend universities and hold various professional positions. The modern Mennonite church has its own schools, from elementary to high school, as well as colleges, seminaries, and universities. Public school is also an option for modern Mennonites, but Old Order children generally attend their own schools, maintaining the tradition and values of the community. And to show how important education is to them, the Mennonites founded Eastern Mennonite University. This college was born in 1917 and arose from the desire of Mennonite church leaders to create a different educational experience, integrating faith and knowledge. Today, EMU is a renowned liberal arts college with graduate programs and a seminary, as well as sports teams that participate in national championships. Number 7. Barns. And while we're on the subject of important things, we can't stop talking about the barns. I know you're probably wondering, gee, but barns? What's so important about that? The answer is everything. If you've ever seen photos of Mennonite communities, you'll have noticed the large barns, an essential part of the rural landscape. But they are much more than just storerooms for grain and tools. For the Mennonites, the granary is the heart of the community, a multifunctional space that goes beyond agriculture. It's where the big events take place, such as weddings, meetings, and parties. It's a place for families to meet, celebrate, and unite. And building a granary is a special moment that involves the whole community. Men, women, and children come together to erect the structure, share meals, and celebrate teamwork. It's a time to strengthen bonds and pass on knowledge from generation to generation. The barns are also a reflection of the skill of the Mennonites. Built with traditional techniques and local materials, they fit into the landscape and are built to last. Number 8. Men and women. In Mennonite communities, gender roles tend to be more traditional, with men taking care of the farm and women the home. Men are recognized for their skills in carpentry, joinery, and furniture making, while women excel in cooking, food preservation, and handicrafts, such as making quilts and baskets. And in some communities, they are also responsible for making the family's clothes, sewing everything with care and dedication. The only exceptions are shoes and hats, which are characteristic of the group and usually bought ready-made. Number 9. Customs and traditions. Mennonite life has its own rhythm, marked by faith and simplicity. From Monday to Saturday, work is the priority, with everyone waking up early to carry out their tasks. Sunday, on the other hand, is a day of rest, religious services, and family gatherings, important moments for strengthening bonds and celebrating community life. This simplicity is also reflected in the clothes. In church, women wear long, discreet dresses, while in everyday life they opt for flowery prints, but always maintaining modesty. Headscarves are common. Married women wear black, single women white or none at all. Men prefer overalls and simple shirts, valuing comfort and practicality. Number 10. Courtship. Baptism, as we've already seen, is an important milestone in Mennonite life, symbolizing entry into the community and commitment to the faith. But in addition to baptism, which follows certain rules, so do relationships. Mennonite dating is quite different from what we're used to. Girls can start being courted from the age of 15 or 16 and usually receive gifts from their suitors. But don't think it's a mess. The meetings are always supervised and have a date and time, only on Thursdays and Sundays from 20 to 22 o'clock, and always at the girl's house. The relationship continues until both feel ready for engagement and marriage. What if it doesn't work out? The woman returns the gifts she received. It's tradition. Number 11. Marriage. If the courtship goes well, then comes the wedding, which is seen as a lifelong commitment. The man formalizes the proposal and the bride's father pays the costs. In return, the groom receives a dowry that includes cows, household utensils, and even financial support to start a new life. The ceremony is simple but full of meaning. The bride wears a black dress, considered the most elegant and formal color, and the groom also dresses in black. Preparations begin a week before, with meetings with friends and family, and the official ceremony takes place the following Sunday. After the wedding, gender roles are well defined. The man is the head of the family, responsible for the livelihood, while the woman devotes herself to the home and children. Community life offers support to couples, strengthening family ties and ensuring the continuity of traditions. Number 12. Death. Funerals are also a little different. When a person from the Mennonite community dies, the body is laid to rest at home on a makeshift bed made of wet sand and covered with a cloth. To preserve it, ice is placed around it. The wake lasts 3 days, but only during the day, as everyone rests at night. Afterwards, a mass is said and the person is buried dressed in white, symbolizing purity and hope for eternal life. Mennonite graves are marked by simplicity. No crosses or elaborate tombstones, just a large flat stone with the name and dates of birth and death engraved on it. Number 13. Mennonites around the world. Today, there are Mennonite communities spread across several countries, each with its own particularities, but all sharing the fundamental values of the Mennonite faith. And hospitality is a hallmark of these communities. Instead of hotels, many Mennonites prefer to stay in the homes of other community members when they travel. This tradition of welcoming visitors has become so strong that there is even a website, Mennonite Your Way, online to connect Mennonite travelers with families who offer lodging. It's like an Airbnb for Mennonites, which strengthens ties between communities and promotes the exchange of experiences. Number 14. 6 Degrees of Separation, the game. And about this exchange of experience, here's another curiosity. Did you know that there's a game called 6 Degrees of Mennonite Separation? The idea is that any Mennonite in the world can be connected to another through a maximum of 6 people. It's like a game of 7 wrongs, but with family ties and connections between communities. It works like this. You meet a Mennonite and start chatting. Surnames are mentioned. Relatives in other states appear in the story, and suddenly you discover common ground, a distant aunt, a friend from church. It's amazing how this network of connections extends around the world. Number 15. Abuse within the community. And to end our journey through the world of the Mennonites, we need to talk about a delicate but important subject: the abuses that, unfortunately, also happen within these communities. Generally, Mennonite communities are patriarchal, with men being the heads of the household and women having to be submissive to them. This power dynamic can make room for abuse, where any deviation from the rules can be punished. Victims often feel silenced and trapped in a cycle of violence and fear. The culture of privacy and the pressure to solve problems internally can make it even more difficult to report and seek help. But the reality of abuse cannot be ignored. Cases of physical, emotional, and sexual violence have already been reported in several countries, such as the shocking case in Bolivia, where in 2009, in the Manitoba colony, 9 men were accused of sexually abusing more than 150 women, even using chemical substances to dope their victims. Unfortunately, this is just one example. Cases like this happen in many parts of the world, which is a sad reality. After all, there are bad people everywhere, even in communities that value faith and simplicity. But what about you? What did you think of this journey through the world of the Mennonites? You've seen that this community is full of peculiarities and traditions that are far from our everyday lives, haven't you? Which curiosity surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share the video with your friends, so that they too can discover these and other curiosities of this bello mundo. Thank you very much for watching, and see you on your next adventure.